So the big question is this: how do you handle meltdowns in a relationship? Today, I'm opening up about a personal experience, my own meltdown. My name is Joan Nwosu, and welcome to the Second Chances podcast, a love journey in black and white. Recently, I went through what I can only describe as a total meltdown. This was a first for me. Yes, I've had moments of lowness and sadness and maybe even depression, but this was the worst by a long mile. In this moment, I was completely overwhelmed, stressed out, and feeling very, very vulnerable. And dare I say, pretty angry too. So I want to share how having a supportive partner like Davide made all the difference. The truth is, this year has been a tough year for many of us, and life can be unpredictable. So one minute I was basking in the season of Christmas and being merry and jolly, and the next thing, life was throwing me challenges that pushed me to my limits. I found myself in the lowest of lows. It was as if everything was collapsing around me and I couldn't control anything. It was bad, trust me. In this very vulnerable and again, I dare say very angry state, Davide became my anchor. Despite being on the receiving end of my emotional turmoil, my venom, my lashing out at him, he was calm. He showed nothing but understanding and patience. And I think in this moment, his support was a reminder of the strength that lies in having a compassionate partnership. I'm so grateful to him. I don't know where I would have ended up. My blood pressure that has always been pretty on the low side spiked and it was really high, and I thought I was having a stroke. Yeah, I might have been a little bit over dramatic here, but in the moment, I was sure that I was having a stroke, and I was already imagining how my life was going to be with a stroke, because my father had multiple strokes before he passed away. So that was a real fear for me. So the question is, how do we manage stress and potential breakdowns? Because the truth is, these type of situations will show up. And when you're single or alone, it's difficult to handle, but at least there's no one close to you that is on the receiving end of all the anger and frustration that's going on in your life. So I think the first thing is for you to recognize the signs of overwhelming stress and try to do something about it. Please do not be like me. Do not ignore it. It starts up with subtle signs of you just being irritable or being exhausted or being demotivated or just feeling emotionally drained all the time. When you get those cues, please do something about it. I did not. I did not. I completely ignored all the signs, and it was a total meltdown for me. So what would have been better was where I recognized these signs or signals of meltdown coming up, I should have been able to communicate with Davide and express what it was that I was going through. And knowing him, he would be very understanding and probably support me so that things do not escalate to the point that it got to. So be sure to be aware of yourself, of your mind, of your emotional state, and triggers and signals that you might need to communicate with your partner so they see the grenade coming before it's a bomb blast, before it's an explosion. Stress is something that we will all face, and it's really essential to practice self-care at this point in time. Usually for me, it would mean stepping back from my laser focus on my business and the things I'm trying to do, whether it be through just relaxing or going for a massage or even meditating or just reading and not really focusing on the task at hand. But at this time, I forgot about any of those things. I did not do any of those things. So for you listening, please practice some self-care just so that you can minimize the impact or the severity of a meltdown. Another thing that usually helps me when I'm feeling low is having a supportive group of friends. So I'll usually have friends that I call and talk to, my sister that I could call and talk to through about some of the things that are stressing me out, and we can just kind of walk through it, and she kind of provide some support or some guidance. It's usually good to have someone outside of your partner to be able to lean on. So it could be family, friends, a therapist, a colleague, anyone that can offer you some additional support is really, really valuable in life. And it's good. It's okay to lean on others at times like this when you're feeling very, very low and out of control and your life just feels out of balance. So having a great support system is really, really good, and something that you can tap into and should tap into when you feel like the world is caving in on you. So I want to speak to the partners who are on the receiving end, like Davide was for me. It's really about understanding your partner and being patient and understanding that whatever it is that they're saying, they don't necessarily mean it, even though sometimes you say very hurtful things and you can't take it back. But that's where building trust and building a safe space and understanding your partner and just approaching it with empathy can really, really come to play. So if your partner is acting out of character or just going through something very, very difficult, you on the receiving end should be empathizing. So just provide a listening ear. They don't always want you to jump in and try to fix things. Sometimes it's just being there and just giving the person a hug, like Davide was doing. He gave me a hug, kissed my forehead. I wasn't really saying much. Sometimes you say, okay, that's enough now. You're overreacting. And that would trigger me, and then he'll be quiet. And we kind of did this back and forth because I don't think he had ever seen me in that state before. But it was really a good experience. And I think after coming through that and going through that experience, I found that rather than it being a breaking point in the relationship, like for some relationships, that might just be the point where the other party says, I'm out of here, cannot deal with this. But it doesn't have to be. It can actually be an experience that strengthens the bond that you have, right? It really, really helps you understand the power of unconditional support, of unconditional love, and realizing that life will always throw you curveballs. There'll always be ups and downs in the relationship. It won't always be picture perfect and Barbie world, only because I'm watching a Barbie movie, but it won't always be la la land. There will be times where either party will go through situations in life where everything just seems wrong. All hell has broken loose and you just can't seem to put a finger or get a grasp of anything. So a meltdown, yes, as much as it will happen, and yes, you might take steps to prevent it from escalating to a point of real damage, understand that even if it gets there, having a partner can make a world of difference. I know that if I was alone and I was all by myself, living alone in my apartment, I don't know where I would have ended up. Yes, I still called my doctor just to say, I think I'm having a stroke. She laughed at me and she said, you're not having a stroke. But having Davide there really made the world of difference. Just knowing that he's there, he's supporting me, he didn't take any offense. He walked me through it the next day and was just really supportive and just saying, you got this, slow down, take a day off, rest, brought me coffee in bed, made my lunch, even made the bed, which is unusual. But he did everything just to make sure that he wasn't adding to my stress and I was comfortable. And that really helped me to get through this really, really quickly. By the next day, I was pretty much okay. So again, for people who are single, who may be thinking, I want a partner, but I'm not sure, I don't know, I don't care, partnerships are toxic. These are some of the situations or experiences that really make me appreciate why having a partner is really, really key. Having someone that has your back, who is non-judgmental, who loves you unconditionally, and is just there to support you can make a lot of difference in your life. It can just make life that little bit more bearable, because adulthood is still a scam. Well, thank you for listening to today's episode of the Second Chances podcast, a love journey in black and white. Till next time, sending you love and light.